Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and you're all welcome to the day three of our African Digital Conference. That's Digital Africa Rising 2026. So we have a good number of speakers who will be sharing their insights, and we have a couple of topics which we are going to look at today. Very, very interesting topics. So when the speakers will come up, you're really going to, learn one or two as far as these topics are concerned. And please don't forget the theme for this African Digital Conference is digital transformation, innovation, and inclusive growth in Africa. So I'll go right away to our first speaker of the day. So the first speaker of the day is Madame Georgina Endekole Ijaki, who is a dynamic brand ambassador, public speaker, leadership coach, and one of the rising voices shaping youth leadership and personal brand across Africa. She's passionate about helping individuals and businesses build strong, influential identities. Georgina has become a key contributor to digital empowerment and youth development initiatives across Nigeria. Georgina played a significant role in implementing the 3MTT program with NDTDA in Sokoto State, where she helped empower young talents with digital skills and create pathway for their participation in Nigeria's evolving tech ecosystem. As a product manager coach, she has trained over 300 professionals, equipping them with branding, communication, and product positioning strategies essential for global relevance. Our leadership journey includes roles such as assistant project manager at Startup Sokoto and business development officer at Horizon Hub, where she supported startups in developing compelling propositions and building strong business identities. Through Audible Voices International, where she served as the lead voice, Georgina continues to mentor young leaders in public speaking, communication, and capacity development. Academically, Georgina holds a degree in English language and linguistics and is currently pursuing a master's in physiolinguistics, deepening her expertise in language, communication, and human behavior. A TEDx SSU 2023 speaker, she has delivered impactful talks on branding, leadership, and communication. She has also distinguished herself in both national and international speaking competitions, winning awards and recognition for her excellence in debate and oratory. Today, Georgina will be talking about women and youth in tech, the power of public speaking. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to Madame Georgina as she takes the stage. Madame Georgina, over to you. If you can hear me, kindly unmute your mic. Miss Georgina, are you there, please? Can you all get me, please? Please, if you can
Yes,
get me, kindly indicate in
yes,
the
we hear
chat.
you.
Okay,
Please, we
Madam
can get
Georgina,
you. Yeah.
are you ready? See if I can spot her from speakers. I think she's here. Madam Georgina, your mic is muted. Can you please unmute your mic? Hello. Seems she's having some connection problems. Uh, just give me a minute. Let me see if I can bring her up. See. Madam Georgina, are you there? Let me see if. All right. So I think we will move to the next speaker while waiting for her to reconnect. Let's see. Um, Mr. Job, is Mr. Job here? Please, if you are here, just indicate. Madam Georgina, can you get me? Miss Georgina?
Good evening, everyone. Please, can someone please confirm if I'm audible, please? Mr. Tam?
Yes, you are
Yeah,
audible.
I can get you.
Can get you.
All right, thank you very much. I'm so sorry for the delay. Please, can I move forward?
Yes, you are free to move forward.
All right, thank you very much. The slide, is it okay if I made use of the slide?
Yes, I'm
Can you?
sharing that right now. Yeah, I'm
All
sharing
right,
that right now.
all right, thank you very much.
All right, over to you.
All right, so good evening, everyone. Depending on where I'm actually, where you are, for us here is just a few minutes after 6 in Nigeria time. So please, do well to make use of the emoji if you can hear me, so I know that we are together. And if at any point in time you lost me, please let me know. Mr. Sam, please, I'm not audible, you know.
Yes, you are.
All right, thank you very much. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining the day three. My name is Georgina Nekole Ijachi, and for today, I will be speaking on the innovation, how innovation needs a voice. Specifically, I'll be talking about communication as a tool for inclusion and growth in African tech space. Next slide, please. So very quickly, I'll just dive into what I have because of our time. If you can hear me, please do well to make use of the emoji so I know that yes, we are together. Thank you very much. Mr. Tam, next slide, please. All right, so before, okay, objective, please. All right. So before we actually go into the introduction for this evening, when we talk about innovation, like I said, I'll be talking about how innovation needs a voice. That is how communication can be used as a tool for inclusion and growth in Africa tech space, right? And then when we talk about innovation, of course, the first thing that comes to our mind is how innovation entails um, creating or improving solutions that can actually solve real problems in our work today, right? So, but the question here is innovation itself limited to just technology alone? It is not, right? It is more like driven by insight and creativity, and in order to project impact in our society. So there are particularly two misconceptions about innovation in our world today, which are firstly, it's more like it's more common, like a misconception. And then one of the misconception in our world today about innovation is that innovation must actually involve complex technology or more like a complex coding or all of its sorts. But in reality, it can actually be as simple as improving access, improving communication, or improving user experience. Another misconception about innovation in our world today is the fact that innovation belongs to startups. Yes, it's a misconception that innovation belongs to startups or maybe one big tech companies, whereas the true innovation actually comes from everyday people like you and I, that tends to respond to creativity in order to challenge the status quo, in order to create a solution for challenges that exist in the world today. So my objective here today is very simple. Simple. By the end of this session, we should be able to understand how our voice can move one people, ideas, and opportunity. Next slide, please. So when we talk about communication, it's more like is a voice, right? When we talk about communication, people say, okay, communication is how we convey messages from one person to another, from the speaker to the listener, and all of that. So when we look at communication as a voice that gives ideas, we can say that communication is a voice that gives ideas, meaning, and movement. It is how innovation is actually understood by different kinds of people, trusted and even adopted in our world today. So by introduction, I say across Africa today, we have brilliant mind, right? We have brilliant young chap. we have brilliant young people that build solutions, that build apps, startups, they build platform and movement. But yet, many, especially women, I'm going to actually be specific about women this evening. Many women today are actually young innovators, but most of them, oh my God, sorry, can you hear me? Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. If we miss you at any moment, I'll let you know.
Oh, all right, thank you. I saw a message in the chat that she's not audible enough. All right,
No,
probably
you are.
okay.
You
Thank
are.
you.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, sir. Thank you very much. So I said by means of introduction, many women today, many young innovators remain invisible, right? And why is that? It's not just because they lack ideas. It's not just because they lack the sense of what they ought to project to the world. But many young women and young innovators, they remain invisible, not because they lack ideas, but because they lack voice, they lack the right positioning and access in order for them to attain power. So when we talk about in the tech ecosystem, the loudest voice almost like often wins, right? In the rooms that not even the smartest one, permit me to use that, not even the smartest one actually are in the room. So next slide, please. Next slide, but before then, I'll give us two brands that we are very, very conversant with that makes use of voice, that makes use of communication to project their brand. Firstly, we have Apple. Apple use communication as a voice for innovation in order to improve their brand visibility. They make use of voice to simplify complex technology into clear and more through the use of compelling stories that focuses on maybe user-friendly or user experiences rather than more like a technicality in itself. So second example of brand that makes use of communication in order for innovation, we have Google. The Google itself actually communicates innovations, right, through accessibilities and clarities, using storytelling and design in order to show how these technologies can solve everyday problem. So today, I want to show us something very, very practical. I'm going to be talking about how communication, when used strategically, please take note of that word, strategically, how communication, when used strategically, can become a tool for inclusion, leadership, and growth, especially for women and youth in the tech space. And then by the end of this session, you understand that your voice, my voice, and your voice can actually move people, ideas, and communication. Next slide, please. Next slide, Mr. Tam.
I already
All right,
changed.
thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. So very quickly, today I have just four pillars to actually buttress how communication can be used as a tool for inclusion and growth in African tech space in order to project how our brand is seen when it comes to technology and all that. So the first pillar I'll actually buttress on today very, very quickly. I'm going to be very, very fast about it because of our time. The first pillar, I said I'm going to be talking about four pillars. And pillar is number one, elite communication. Please, if you can see that, can I have that in the chat? Can I have that in the chat box? All right. So elite communication. Now, one thing we need to understand is that voices are not noises, right? Voices are not noises. Voices are strategies. In tech spaces, communication is often treated as more like a soft skill, but in reality, communication is the infrastructure itself, because it is one thing for you to have a brand, it is another thing for you to project to the society in order for them to understand you. So when we talk about allied communication, it entails that you have to know how to frame your idea. You have to know how and when how to speak about your idea. You have to know how to write and speak in order to persuade people, and you have to know how to control your narrative. Now, these four things here under this allied communication that I say, it's more like the four sides of a square that cannot do without each other, right? If we should remove one side of a square, it's no longer a square, it becomes something else. So you see, these four things, knowing when and how to speak on about your brand, knowing how to frame your idea, knowing how to write and speak about your brand in order for you to be persuasive enough for people to actually know how this innovation is actually imbibed in your brand, and then knowing how to control your narrative. Now, in our world today, right, I have seen young founders with great products, great ideas. In fact, some of these founders even have good visibility, but they have a founding not because the idea was bad, but because the story was unclear. Most of them, they do not even have access for funding. Why? Because it's not that their idea is not good enough to project to the society or to the world today, but because they actually do not have a very clear story of what they do. I have seen women in tech that ignore rooms until they learn how to with clarity. I have seen started things in the tech world, but because they don't know how to project about what it do not stand, it doesn't last attempts or it doesn't last times in our era. So now let's look at the practical takeaway here in Elite communication as a first pillar when it comes to how communication can be used as a tool for inclusion and growth in African tech space. Now, the practical takeaway here is simple. Before you speak or before you pitch, you have to answer three good questions, which are: what problem am I solving? What does it matter now? Why does it matter now? And then why am I credible to lead? Am I credible to lead this particular problem? In our world today, yes, problems exist everywhere. But if you're trying to this problem is good, but knowing how to actually put the solution you are actually bringing to solve this problem is something that is actually seen. Now, secondly, let's look at the second pillar, which is organizing and mobilization. When we talk about this, it is very, very pivotal here that innovation grows when people move together. No innovation can scale alone, right? And then women and youth in tech space must learn not just to build but to organize. It is one thing for you to actually have the idea. It is another thing for you to build, and it is another thing for you to organize. Now let's look at the map power here. Who decides, who funds, who influences, who decide your funding, who actually influences. Now let's look at building community. Your network is your leverage. And then you mobilizing people like volunteers, your users, your partners, your advocates. You just have to think in campaigns, not just ideas. So the most successful tech initiatives are not just a movement, are more like a coalition of people coming together to say, okay, let's organize this and see how this actually be project to the world. So this is how it actually works. Are we together? All right, thank you. So when we are talking about the practical takeaway in the second pillar of how communication can be used as a tool for inclusion and growth in African tech, we thank you very much. We can say that ask yourself this question: who needs to believe in this idea? Who needs to believe in my idea? Who needs to support it? And who needs to use my idea? By the time you are able to know the answers to these practical tips, this practical takeaway as a brand that is actually trying to project in order to mobilize and practical, it makes things easier for you. So innovation grows when people are mobilized around a shared vision. You have a vision, but only one person cannot actually project this vision. Let's look at leadership psychology. When we talk about leadership psychology here, it just entails that authority is more important than popularity. You having this authority in what you do, because many young people, especially women, are taught to be liked, right? That is more like the misconception most of us grew up with. But when it comes to leadership requires being trusted and not applauded. Yes, I'm not saying people applauding you for what you do or your passion is bad. But when you put leadership and when you weigh leadership and people complimenting what you do, you see that there is no successful story without a good leadership. There's no successful story without a good leadership. So you see that leadership psychology means understanding the difference between authority and approval. It means making decisions even when there are people that hold the mantle of leadership, are uncomfortable. It entails regulating emotions under pressure, showing up with a strong public presence. That is what leadership psychology is. So you see that leadership itself requires a whole lot of trust. Yes, I'm not disputing that. Of course, it needs upload. Yes, but when you weigh the two, trust is better. Mr. Tam, am I audible enough?
Yes, you are.
All right, thank you very much. So in tech spaces, confidence is more like mistaken for competence. Confidence is more like it's mistaken for competence, but confidence actually still opens door, right? It opens door. I have tried that in my brand. I know of people, my mentors that have done that, and it is one thing for you to have an idea. It is another thing for you to communicate this idea of your brand. That is where communication comes in. So here are just practical takeaway. You don't need permission to lead. You don't need permission to lead. You need clarity. In our world today, yes, you might need permission to lead when it comes to a different puzzle, a different ball game. But when it comes to branding and you have your team, yes, you have your team, you organize your team, you mobilize your team. All you need is clarity and consistency. Is one thing for you to have an idea. Is one thing for you to also be consistent in it, and then it's another thing for you to have the boldness, which is the courage for you to speak in conviction when it comes to your brand. So when you speak with conviction and being calm about it, people listen. It sends a signal that yes, this person, he or she, know what he or she is actually projecting to the society. Very quickly, the fourth pillar, which is execution and impact. Thank you very much, Mr. Tam. Now, execution and impact is a very, very core pillar when it comes to how we can use communication as a tool for inclusion and growth in African state. Let's not forget that we are saying that our innovation needs a voice on how we can project what we do to the outside world. Now, looking at execution and impact, what does it mean? I said our voice must lead with results. It must lead to results, right? You have a voice, you have ideas, but it must actually be targeted at a result. A voice without execution is just noise. Okay, this is a new year. Most of us have written down our goals, but it is not just enough for you to write down your goals. It is good enough for you that when you write down your goals, what are you doing? What steps are you taking to ensure that these your goals are met? And this is where the pillar of execution, the strategy of execution for impact coming. Now, what this execution means is designing initiative with clear goals. Let your goals be clear enough. Then you measure your outcomes and your intentions. You also report results with evidences. I have a team where I report to every month that okay, these are the goals I've set for this month. This was how I was able to achieve them. These are the ones that I was not able to achieve, and then these are the ones I'm able to project to the next or following months to come. So reporting with evidence is good enough, and then building things that can deliver. These are more like execution. When it comes to execution, if needs be for you to have volunteers, yes, it goes. So you see that innovation becomes credible when it produces impact, when it produces results. And then practical takeaway tonight under this one, I said every idea should answer three good questions. I make this very, very simple for us. I say every idea should answer three questions. What problem did we solve as a team? Who benefited from the problem that exists and then we solved? What changed because we acted? What problem did we solve? Who benefited? And then what changed because we acted? Now, impact is how your voice earns respect. Impact is how your voice earns respect. So you see that these four pillars, I make it very, very simple. These four pillars are things that we can use our voice in order to project that yes, we have a brand, in order to actually propel us as using our communication skill as a tool for inclusion and growth in African tech space. Now tonight, this is more like a call to action. I will actually end my session with Africans today does not lack innovations, right? Africans lack inclusive systems that actually amplify the right voices. I gave us examples of Google. I gave us an example of Google that actually uses the art of communication to improve innovation. And when innovation is being done, what else? it actually leads to a better brand visibility. So Africa does not lack innovation. Africa lacks inclusive system that actually amplify the right voices. So if you're a woman in the tech space, well, your voice matters a whole lot. If you're a woman in tech, your voice matters. If you're a woman in tech or you're a man in tech that actually know how to use the strategy of communication as a tool for growth in the African tech space, well, kudos to you. If you're a young innovator, your voice is needed. If you're a young woman, a young lady, your voice matters. You have to like speak clearly. You have to organize intentionally, and you just have to lead with authority in order for you to execute your ideas. And also, you have to execute with discipline. Discipline here entails that yes, you have a team. Okay, what are the things? Are there? How do you checkmate and balance your team? Okay, if this happened, this happened. If this happened, this happened. Right. So you just have to like know how to execute with discipline. Next slide, please. All right, thank you. So in conclusion tonight, I will actually close by saying because innovation needs a voice, and that voice is yours. So you don't just have to wait for the right time before you go say, oh, I have this innovative idea and I think it's not yet time, it's not yet the appropriate time for me to bring my ideas into fruition. No, you have to begin now. You have to begin now. So remember to use your voice in order to pitch an idea, in order to write the proposal, in order for you to bring the ideas that actually are ringing in your head in order for you to lead and then lead the meeting and then claim the room. Remember to use your voice in order to pitch an idea. I said, write the proposal if need be, which is very, very important and pivotal. Lead the meeting and claim the room. In order for you to let your voice project, innovation needs a voice. Yes. And communication is one of the best strategy you can use for inclusion and growth in African tech space. Mr. Tam?
Thank you very much, Madam Georgina, for that explicit talk on innovation needs a voice. So please, if you have a question for Madam Georgina, please feel free to ask. We have 1 minute to take questions, and Josh will be able to give us an answer. So any question, you can either unmute your mic, you introduce yourself, you ask a question, or you can use the chat, whichever option you want. Any question?
You can also project my last slide. I think the last slide as
Okay.
well. Yeah, if there are questions, they can also reach out to me. That's my number there, and that's my email. In case there are questions, I don't know if there's still time. But please, if you have a question, kindly unmute your mic and ask.
Yes, I see. Is it Bungang? I see your hand up. Can you unmute your mic if you have a question, please?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So my question is, you
Please,
said if
can
you
you
have an
introduce yourself? Can you just kindly
my
introduce
name
yourself
is
before you?
my name is Bungang Berinin Leticia
Yes, connecting from.
from Bamenda.
Okay.
Really.
Right, go ahead, please.
My question is, you said if you have an idea, we should voice it out. We should not wait for the perfect time. The question here is, which audience should we voice out to?
All right. All right. Mr. Tam, can I answer that question?
Yes, go ahead, please.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you, Miss. It is one thing for you to have an idea. It is another thing for you to project this your idea to the society. Especially, for example, when your idea is targeted, for example, anything that has to do with social impact. Now, it is very sorry. I can be very. Let me be blatant here, right? You have an idea, it is good, but bringing out your idea, I cannot tell you that it is a rosy bed, right? It is not rosy because you have an idea, it entails a whole lot. You have a whole lot, you have to know how to put down your ideas. What are the strategies you're going to use to project your ideas? How do you come up with a team? How do you manage your team? What are the disciplines? What are the rules and regulations that have to do with your team? So you see, as long as you have an idea, firstly, there are things you do. And one of the things you do is, who are my targeted audience? Who are my targeted audience? Am I targeting your audience boys? Are they girls? Is it the general public? Is it the society at large? Let me take for instance, a few years ago, I have an idea of growing up as a child. I grew up through like I have a trauma experience and growing up as a child, that some things happen and I could not project what happened in our home, especially in the setting of family. Yes. So I couldn't project what was going on, or things happen that I have reasons to actually project to my guardian, but I couldn't. Why? Because of fear, for example, right? But so while I was growing up, I was very, very timid, but it took me time and daily routine for me to know how to like, okay, I should be able to speak, right? And that is why I was able to project, for example, during my college days, I was able to like, okay, I don't want to be who I am. Okay, I want to be that little beautiful girl that was able to express herself wherever he or she finds herself and all that, right? And today it happens. I am not saying I'm perfect. Right from when I started as a communication expert, I am not perfect. It took me more than a decade. It took me more than a decade and a half to be who I am today. So many people actually see your success, but they don't know the hurdles you go through in life. They don't. So, but you don't just have to give up. You have an idea. You can, because of our time, can do well. That's my email. We can take up this conversation. Probably you have an idea that you think you want to project and you are lost, you don't know how to go about it. That's actually my profile on the screen. My number is there. Do well to just add me, or you can talk to the organizer. Mr. Tam will direct you. Kindly, he will refer you to me or send you my necessary information, and then you reach out to me. But note when you have an idea, you don't have to give up on your idea. You have to like look for a way. And once your ideas, your goals are actually targeted, have a targeted audience that you think the problem exists in with them and you want to solve, right? But remember this, that consistency is harder when no one is clapping for you. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
All right.
When no one is
Thank you very much for that. Any other question? We are going to, we will look at them towards the end so we can give the opportunities for the other speakers to, equally share with us what they have for us today. All right. So our next speaker is Mr. Saint-Germain Onwukeme from Nigeria, who is a system engineer turned serial entrepreneur and digital advising innovator with over a decade of experience driving business growth through technology and data-driven marketing solutions. He's a graduate of system engineering from the University of Lagos. Saint-Etienne has spent more than 10 years building and scaling ventures at the intersection of technology, advertising, and entrepreneurship. His entrepreneurial journey began with Cash Down Nigeria, laying the foundation for his deep involvement in performance-driven and programmatic advertising ecosystems. Saint-Germain is the founder of Cybertron Arts, a programmatic advertising company with strategic partnership across major global platforms, including Transsion, Meta, Huawei, Art, and other leading digital networks. Through Cybertron Art, he has helped brands leverage automation, precision targeting, and scalable ads technologies to achieve measurable growth and market expansion. In 2023, he further disrupted the advertising space with the launch of Outworld, Africa's first self-served programmatic out-of-home OOH advertising platform, enabling businesses to deploy outdoor advertising campaigns in under 10 minutes. This innovation marked a significant leap in making traditionally complex advertising channels faster, more accessible, and performance-oriented. Beyond entrepreneurship, Saint-Germain is a registered associate member of the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria, ACON, and a recognized voice in the advertising industry. His contributions have earned him multiple recognition, including the NMR Executive of the Year, Advertising Category 2023, and an ambassadorship for digital public relations from Lagos Digital PR Chapter. In today's event, he will be speaking on an African perspective, digital marketing for business growth. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to Mr. Saint-Germain as he takes the stage. Mr. Saint-Germain, over to you. Thank you.
Mute. Hello. Can everyone hear me?
Yes,
Hello.
we can.
Yes. Yes. Hello. Good. I think afternoon, evening to everyone. Kindly give me a second while I share a slide. I would like to go through it quickly. And okay. So kindly give me a thumbs up if you can see my slide. Okay. Okay. Um. Okay, great. So I think we have enough thumbs up. So let me proceed. So just to start off, this quick presentation would be talking about obviously digital marketing for business group. So it will be focusing on a vast majority of the African businesses which are under the small and medium businesses, and we'll be sharing tips and we'll be sharing insights on how to improve and also new things that we might be able to want to learn when it comes to improving our marketing efforts. So right now, like the theme goes, we're moving beyond clicks to sustainable growth. So the first thing about growth is ads are everywhere. It's estimated that we interact with up to 1,000 ads every day, right? So we see ads every day. We see people who are advertising every day, and it's no longer about who shouts the loudest. Because one of the common complaints I have with people is, "Oh, I've been spending money on ads, and we're not seeing anything." Okay, that's a good start because it lets you know that it's not just about making noise. It's about knowing your consumer, your target audience, your customer, and the rest. It's a data-driven revenue machine. Data engine generally, because the idea of it is you have to not just know your target audience, you need to know how to cultivate the audience. That means you have to get them at the right time, at the right place, and to be able to get the right funnels to enable them to give you the right actions that you're looking for. So what do we go with? So the big idea is move. Like I said, we have gone beyond the awareness phase, right? We're in the era of efficiency. One of the key words we have at Cybertron is that we are trying to make sure that every spend counts. Because unknown to a lot of people, currently, the amount of ad spend that is wasted is as high as 70%. That means if your ad shows 10 times, 7 out of those 10 times, it went to the wrong person, which means that a lot of times we are just hoping for the best. They would call it the spray and pray. Let's spray as many ads and hopefully it sticks. Now, if you want to be able to run ads properly, you need to get what I will call down and dirty into the programmatic precision. So programmatic ads, in essence, are just ads that it's not just the targeting and everything. It's ads that go with a particular set of instructions. Like the term of a program is, in its most basic definition, a program is a set of instructions that terminate. So programmatic ads, you have advertising with a set of instructions to be able to go to a certain demographic, certain time of day, etc., in order to get the individuals you're looking for. So you're trying to engineer social behavior. I'm sure we have seen that with brands like Jumia and Co. When you go on Jumia and you see an ad, or you probably add something to cart, right? Then probably when you're searching or you're going somewhere else, you notice that, whoa, I'm seeing this ad again, Then it's not just retargeting. It now gives you some specific ways of retargeting, right? It's not just to tell you that you have something in your cart. You improve on that. The next one you now see is, oh, look at similar items you might like. Then you now move to, oh, here are some things that you'd like to have that will help you, that will complement what you want to buy. These are deliberate options where you already programmed that everything with these certain tags, you give him options so that the individual doesn't just see the same ad, the individual is creating a story in his mind. So that is the whole concept of programmatic advertising. And you now look at it. So generally, you see traditional versus modern, right? Where you put something on the news, you put something on your sites, you put something, like a regular analog billboard. You just pick out a billboard and say, let them know that we have come to town. Let them know what we are doing, etc., etc. And for the most part, it will work, but it will not be efficient, which means you have to put more money per unit result than most others would in your own situation. That's why when it comes to one of the reasons why we got heavy into Outworld was we wanted the ability to be able to develop a solution whereby you can be able to deploy ads when you need them, not just where you need them. So a very easy case scenario, I was speaking with someone that was a board owner, and I said, here's the advantage you can offer your clients is you are in a place that has nightlife, right? And perhaps people might not have the money to spend on there every day for the rest of the year. You could let them know that, hey, they could target Friday, Saturday, Sunday between 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. to run their ads on various things that they want. It's still the same location, but if it were a traditional way, Monday morning you are seeing the ad. I believe it's very sure that nobody wants to see a club and a party ad on a Monday morning. Even if you see it, you are skipping it most likely because your mind and your setup of your psyche at that point in time is not geared towards that. So that's just a very, very base example of targeting and its differences when you're looking into the modern form of marketing, right? So you can see it very, very, the old playbook, you buy traffic, you have a lot of key clicks. Social media boosting, you want to have so many numbers, you want to increase our followers, you want to do all of this, you want to have static banners, siloed ads that, you're just parking them there, you're just there. So what we're now looking at is 2026, we're now looking at intent, gauging consumer intent. So coincidentally, today I had someone speak to me, said, I've spent XYZ amount on advertising this year and we're not selling. Within less than half an hour, I just quickly saw why he couldn't sell. Because, for instance, you're in a B2B and you're selling items that are above a certain threshold. Let's say you're selling cars. You're not going to easily sell that car off one ad or someone that clicks on it and the rest. You most likely have to build intent. You have to build a sales funnel, things like that, directing the person, giving them like a virtual tour, a virtual understanding of that. Those are examples of things like that. Then, as well as that, let's say you're a new electronic vehicle. Let's say you're a new electronic vehicle owner, you're coming to, let's say, Nigeria, you're trying to break into the Nigerian market. This phrase where we have is phygital, that's digital and physical, right? The combination of both. You want people to be able to see their ads when they're outside and see their ads when they're online. So it helps to reinforce the idea of a brand. So for those who are in Nigeria, I'm sure if you ask them, do you remember those GG ads? They say, yes, I remember those GG ads. They were 5-second ads. They're highly focused to people in certain geos, and they were in Lagos, and they were in Nigeria. And after that period, it stayed heavily in their mind that they don't really need to advertise anymore because of they have been able to cultivate a presence in people's minds that they can now switch on to search and work on search and the rest. So it's a continuous process, but it's a very, very intelligent process. So one of the problems a lot of times is that we have an idea of the result. We want to advertise, we want to have clients and customers. We understand that, right? Now, the process is, how can we make a road that is not too big, not too small, not too cheap, and not overly expensive? That means we want to have an efficiency vehicle that will be able to get us that. And that's where a lot of programmatic advertising comes into. it comes into the fact that you have targeting. You have targeting by intent. You have classifications, right? So, for instance, if you had someone that was interested in this conference, the person comes to the website. If you target the person, you let the person know that, oh, XYZ is happening there. They now say, oh, can you show intent to register? You stop directing the person to the main website page. You start directing him to the registration page. Then, if the person goes there, the system with your data funnel, you can now classify that, okay, this should not be treated as somebody who has never seen the conference or any other thing else. And you should not treat the person as the same thing. So your attraction or your actions are varied towards various people. Then you also look at how can you capture attention quickly. You look at creative. Creative is something that is very, very important. So one thing I've come to understand is that a lot of times people do not study what their competition is doing. I don't know, probably the idea that, oh, I'm better than them. Or sometimes they study too much that they just want to copy and paste and say, let me spend more money than them, right? Your rich media should be very, very unique, and it should stand out in the way you want. So rich media is really all these interactive ads you have where you could have like a cube spinning, this going left, that going right. Those examples are examples of people who are trying to not just drop an ad, they're trying to drop an ad that will get the users engaging in them. And by them engaging with the brand, they have some mental real estate with the brand. Because like I mentioned earlier, everybody's seen an ad today. The question is, how unique is your ad? How memorable is your ad? That's why it's now a case of precision rather than volume. You have to look at people who are interested and remove your focus from people who are not interested. So that's one key thing I would say into that. So like I mentioned about the phygital, right? So one of the things is that most times people have, oh, do I do out of home? Do I do digital? Do I do this? Do I do that? And some brands and some businesses, especially businesses in beauty, fashion, in stores, a lot of times people want to come to you and see it where you are, right? So let's say you're going outside, you see an ad. You're going on your phone, you see an ad, right? You're seeing brand relativity. So if you're now looking at it and you're saying, okay, how do I achieve that? Then you now say, where are your target customers? Where do you see your target customers are? You start with what? Awareness. You know, I tell everyone, you start with awareness. Then when you start with awareness, you look at the data sets that are responding, then you now go into precision targeting. So when you now move into precision targeting, you can now start investing into search, into social, into connected TV, and so on and so forth. Now, in Africa, we don't have a lot of connected TV. That's still a growing market, you know. Programmatic the data points have not yet been connected. But for the most part, let's say you are a brand and you're a store, and let's say you're in Lagos, and you stay around, let's say Lekki or so, and you're making an ad campaign, and you say, okay, I want people around this area to come here. You can put a geo fence and make it, and you bid high. So that means anybody else that is around that area, you're outbidding them. You put a geo fence. That means people, let's say they are 5 kilometers around Lekki, you're able to target them, and you make it very clear in your creative, which I mentioned before. Creative is very important, that we are just by you. We are not far away. Like today, I saw an ad of a restaurant that's at what do you call it? It's not far off from the office and the rest. Another day, I could just be passing by. I could see a board. I said, oh, yeah. I remember I saw the ad on my phone and I saw the board, or I saw the place. Oh, let me go and try it. You know, the idea of everything is we are trying to cultivate human behavior. Because trust me when I say this, a lot of the things we see today are all specifically done with a goal in mind. So the combination of the physical and digital and applying the right form of targeting and precision is what can help you to maximize your conversion intent. You would see huge growth in your conversion intent. So you can see that a lot with that. So AI, right? Artificial intelligence. Everyone thinks immediately, ChatGPT, come and write my caption, ChatGPT, help me write my essay. You know, AI is your media buyer, right? When you think about artificial intelligence, it's basically what is according to obviously I remember our AI professor that used to say basic definition of intelligence is objective goal-oriented behavior, cognitive objective goal-oriented behavior, right? So you need to be able to feed it information. Like, okay, you have an AI that you're working in your targeting and your advertising, you have to feed it data and say, okay, this is the behavior and the rest. And it will analyze all your data points, right? It will analyze your data points from various places. Let's say you have an out-of-home campaign and you're putting billboards with QR codes. You could see the way we have it, we have QR codes that pick up the IP addresses and the geolocations. So you could see obviously anonymized data, but we have that. You can say, okay, most people who are scanning these billboards, they are scanning, probably have billboards scattered around the whole city. And you see that most people who are engaging in billboards are engaging around these areas. What does that tell you? It means that everywhere else they are spending on is not working for that duration. You could use a 1-year period for your data collection. Then when you now use that, you now find how you can now maximize it. And the beauty of artificial intelligence is that the more you feed it, the more it's, should I say, more intelligent, and the more it can give you the data you look for. So when it comes to AI, it's very, very important to have data available. So a lot of times, one of the criticism I have, or one of the, I would say the objections or the questions I have with most AI startups or AI, especially that are coming from Africa, is, are you just focused on what the AI can do, or where is the data that you are feeding into the AI? Because no matter how great the AI is, without sufficient data, you're going to be left. Standing. So when you have AI working with you, it makes it a lot faster, a lot more efficient, and it's working 24/7. Like, you are there, busy saying, "Don't worry, let me try and do this." AI is working while you're sleeping. And eventually it would go ahead of you. So in everything I keep on saying, when it comes to programmatic advertising or when it comes to scaling, is you need to have the data of your campaigns. Okay, we have this campaign, we ran it for a month. Great. How many clicks? How many impressions? Okay, the people who are clicking or the people who are interacting with us, where are they coming from? Okay, what data points do we have? Where are people coming to meet us? Oh, they came to our website. Do you have even as much little as analytics to start with? Then you can connect it and feed it to so many other places. Okay, these people are coming here. Where did they stop? They come to the page, they don't come to cart. Oh, they only come here, they don't scroll below fold. They only stay above fold before bouncing. Okay, the information we're giving them on our homepage or above fold is not working. You have to use that information and make something out of it to make adjustments. Something as little as loading speed. Your page, your website might be too slow, or you might have a pop-up. So, like I said, without carrying data, you are just advertising and wondering why it's not working. Because you'll be very amazed at how the littlest thing, or as I say, the smallest thing, would be the demise of a very, very well thought of campaign. You could have the best creative, you can have the best placement, you can have the best targeting, and you just be unfortunate that you have a pop-up that shows on mobile, or you have a problem with your website on a particular browser. Let's say you have a problem with Safari, and next thing you know, your ad is not working. You're not converting. So, like I said, Those are things that you work on. Rule of three for scaling, right? You need to reach the user on their device. You need to be around the right place. I need to be able to measure the outcome. So you want to be able to reach everyone. Everyone is on their phone every day. But it's not just on their phone. There are some people who spend a lot more time on their laptops. Some they use, they are available more on their smart TVs where they can see ads and the rest. So someone that's using a smart TV most likely is not going to be typing a lot of things in a phone. So when you're putting a campaign and you have smart TV, you have to think, oh, smart TV, I just want them to be able to click one or two buttons and I get their information or I get their intent. Then I can now go back to them and probably on their mobile and say, okay, all right, now you are in the device, you can be able to type a lot and move with that, Like I said, you have to be present where they are. So it's still the same thing with the device and context. You have to be on their device. True. Now, which device? How does each device play with everything? When you think about desktop, a lot of sites are a lot smaller in terms of, because of on your laptop or desktop, you have a wider screen. People can scroll a lot easier. On the mobile phone, it's a lot different. You need to make sure that people have a reason to scroll. That, oh, we are telling them something there and there, here and there. On mobile, you can optimize for quick tags, right? Quick hashtags that can get to certain points in case the person wants to know more. So those are examples. Then at the end of the day, if we are not scoring anything, then it's like you're playing. I know we're having the AFCON currently. It's like you're playing a match and a tournament and the referee is not keeping score. You can't know who's winning, who's losing. You don't know anything, You are just experiencing the art of advertising. You're not really marketing to right people. So you need to be able to measure. If your campaign doesn't work, you need to say, okay, this is what we put inside and this is what we consider failure. So one of the challenges I've had a lot of times with a lot of advertisers is we can't define success at the beginning of a campaign. So at the end of the day, even if it's successful in comparison with other people's spend and their results, if the advertiser doesn't see it as successful, then it's a problem. We need to be able to define success and define failure so that we know what we're doing. So we're not doing, like I said earlier, spray and pray. We don't spray and pray. We zero in. So a very good example is we had a fintech brand that they were looking for young professionals, right? So you're looking for young professionals, you're looking for how you can target them. I'll say, okay, fine. What do? We look at the geolocation. Where do we see most young professionals that we're working with? Where are they? All right, let's first build up our data points. Let them be aware. Let's get a lot of engagements and the rest. Then let's start retargeting them. Let's start getting them in and start pulling them into our ecosystem so that they can actually start making transactions with us and the rest. So all those things tend to highly reduce cost. You'd be very surprised how much cost can reduce over a long time. Because let's say your cost moves from between 0.8 to $1. That's 15 cents. That's even large. Let's say 0.8 to 0.85. That 5 cents for every client that you have. Let's say it's for an app install. When you put in 10,000 app installs, when you put in 100, when you put in 1 million, you see that the cost increases as time goes on. And marketing and advertising is something that always has to go on because the market is in a steady state of competition. If you don't let people stay there, very soon people will forget you. So that's how it works. So one example, especially in fintech and with gift cards, with fintech products, virtual debit cards, and a lot. These are fintech products that are working. And when we now decided to say, okay, look, how do we get to work? How do we get to push you very well? And how do we get to keep those people there? Okay. So you have to do what we call A/B testing. You test the times of the day when they get to see your ads, when they get to retarget with them. Okay, do we look at them heavily over weekends when they'll be less active at work, or what do we now do afterwards? You know, you have to think and say, okay, how do we get to these young professionals, which are they are growing professionals, but they're also in the young demographic, which means we are looking at people who probably have, you could say, from 23, 25 to let's say 35. You know, it's not the 18 to 35. You can, the cap might be at 23 to 35, or let's say 40. You know, these people are also on social media. They are in tune with the hip trend, but they are also individuals who are professionals, you know. So how do we keep them, and how do we reach out to them in a way whereby it's interesting and current, you know, is modern enough, but it's also we're able to deliver the message of what they want. So we need to be cool, but also uh, you know, professional, should I say that way? So that's one of the examples that in that kind of situation whereby you have to put in the work in making sure that they understand you and you're able to get them to engage in your product as well. So just to close up, it's the question is no longer how do we get sick? The question is how do we stay relevant? So relevance is closely tied to being useful. Okay. So when we think about things that are useful, you know, you have to think about, you know, for instance, you have your Google search. Okay, how do Google did not look at, oh, how do we put Google everywhere? They maintain relevance by integrating. You know, they integrate with browsers, they integrate with search engines, they integrate with mobile phones and the rest. So how do we stay relevant? You know, it's a system. You integrate with your physical, you integrate with your digital, you integrate with your social, you integrate with your search, so that people can see you from more than one place. That is how the consumer, that's how people can believe in your brand. I know that, okay, I know them here, I've seen them there, I've seen them there, I've seen them there. That's the idea. So that's what we are looking at. It's a system of constant optimization. You don't run an ad campaign and you go to sleep. I don't think that works. I don't think that will work. So that's pretty much the way I'll put it, that advertising, you have to observe, you have to act, observe, react, then observe. And it's the whole circle. So it's not a straight line, it's a circle. That's what advertising is in 2026. So with that, I would like to say thank you for everyone. I hope I've been as brief as possible. And if you have any questions, I'll be available to listen to them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saint-Germain, for that explicit talk. So we are open to questions. Please, if you have a question, feel free to ask. Any question directed to Mr. Saint-Germain before we move to the next speaker? Any question? All right, so we are moving to the final keynote speaker. I don't know if Mr. Job is ready. All right, so Mr. Job seems not to be ready. So we are just going to move to the first panel discussion. So we're going to have three panel discussions today. first panel discussion is going to be on digital literacy. No, there's an error here. So the first panel discussion is going to be on women and youth in tech. And the second panel discussion is going to be on innovation and startups. So I'm going to, introduce the speakers who are going to be part of the panel today. We have Madame Balemba Cecilia, we have Mr. Steve Ugo, we have Madame Leah, and of course, Madame Ibrahim Rabot. I'm just going to give you guys a brief, bio about these amazing speakers. So when they come up, you're really going to learn a lot or get a lot from them. All right. So I'm going to begin with Madame Balemba. So Madame Balemba is a young, dynamic, creative, and brand strategist who continues to defy odds and prove that impact can be built from behind a laptop. With over 5 years of experience in brand strategy and creative design, Cecilia is a result-driven professional known for developing and implementing comprehensive brand strategies that drive business growth. She has worked with startups, NGOs, and public organizations, building them helping them strengthen their brand identity through compelling visuals and strategic storytelling that increases awareness and engagement. Cecilia currently serves as the National Director and the Creative Specialist at the JPI Youth Leadership Convention, where she leads creative direction and supports youth leadership development initiatives. She's also a graphic designer, tutor, and mentor, having trained over 50 individuals professionally, equipping young creative with practical digital skills and confidence to thrive in the digital economy. As a brand strategist, Cecilia has a proven ability to translate complex market insights into clear, actionable branding plans. Her expertise spans brand positioning, messaging, visual identity, and digital marketing, always driven by her passion for building narratives that resonate with real audience. Her journey reflects resilience, creativity, and purpose. She stands as a strong voice for young women in tech, embodying her beliefs that a girl behind a laptop can change the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is Madame Balemba. So we move to the next panelist by name Madame Leah Ogunleye, who is a digital marketing professional with strong expertise in social media management, content marketing, and community building, and a passionate advocate for youth empowerment and inclusive digital growth. With over 4 years of experience in the marketing and advertising industry, Leah has worked across brand strategy, experimental marketing, and digital media, contributing to successful marketing campaigns, product launches, and influencer collaboration. Her work focuses on building authentic brand narratives, driving engagements. Oh, my screen is being shared. All right. So driving engagement and creating communities that connect people to purpose-driven brands. Leah has extensive experience in branding, content creation, and thought leadership development, supporting executives and organizations in strengthening their digital presence and mentor students in in-demand digital skills, preparing the next generation for careers in the digital economy. So beyond her professional work, Leah is deeply committed to youth empowerment, education, and supporting the girl child, aligning her advocacy with the SDG for quality education. Her mission is to ensure that young people, especially women and girls, have access to the skills, confidence, and opportunities needed to thrive in the technology-driven environment. So, ladies and gentlemen, Leah Ogunleye, all the way from Nigeria. Our next panelist is Madame Ibrahim Ramot, all the way from Nigeria. who is an energetic public relations strategist, youth advocate, and communication leader dedicated to empowering young people and amplifying women's voices in leadership, technology, and nation building. Rama holds a degree in guidance and counseling from the University of Ibadan and is an alumni of the PR Nigeria Young Communication Fellowship, where she graduated as the second best fellow and most disciplined fellow, a testament to her commitment to excellence and professionalism. Her career spans public relations, effective communication, elocution, human resource management, and project management. She's the founder of Jewel Rama Essentials, a fabric and jewelry brand that reflects her entrepreneurial spirit and creativity. She has also distinguished herself as a public speaker and event host for various corporate engagement. Ramot currently serves as an ambassador with the Sophia Nadia Foundation, where she was honored with the iconic Ambassador Award 2024 for her service and impact. Her leadership journey has earned her both national and international recognition, including her past role as a Lagos State Youth Ambassador. Today, she continues to inspire excellence in her position as the National Secretary General of the National Female Student Association of Nigeria. Throughout her academic and professional journey, she has consistently held leadership roles, strengthening her resolve to champion youth development, women empowerment, and social advancement. Her passion extends into the digital space where she views technology as an anchor, that she views technology as an enabler of social economic development. She is committed to helping young people leverage technology, media, and communication to shape a more equitable and innovative Africa by 2030. So you're welcome, Madam Ibrahim, to the panel. Our next panelist is Mr. Stephen Ugo, a Kenyan researcher, activist, and one of East Africa's leading voices in sexual and reproductive health and rights, gender equity, and youth empowerment. His work focuses on building supportive ecosystems where young people, especially young women, have the resources, representation, and rights needed to thrive. Stephen leads Youth Space Africa, an organization committed to creating sustainable community-centered structures for youth development. Through this platform, he works closely with communities, healthcare providers, educators, and policymakers to design systems that respond to the real needs of young people. His advocacy extends beyond community work into national and global policy spaces. As a member of the Nairobi Youth Advisory Council, Stephen contributes to strategic discussions that shape youth-centered policies and development frameworks. He also hosts discussions that shape youth-centered policies. He also hosts the AFSI Dialogue, a platform dedicated to amplifying youth voices and bridging the gap between young leadership and decision makers. Stephen's work reflects a powerful commitment to inclusion, ensuring the young people, women, and marginalized groups have a seat at the table in conversation about rights, health, leadership, and digital participation. His approach blends research, advocacy, community engagement, and policy influence, positioning him as a strong voice for equity in the digital space. So, Mr. Steve, you're highly welcome to the panel. And of course, these are the people who will join us for the first panelists as we proceed with this session. So I'm going to give them each 2 minutes to talk a little bit about themselves. I've already introduced you, so you just need to tell us about your business and how your business or your brand or whatever you do in life can help those who are currently part of us. And of course, you can, at the end of the session, we're going to share your details in the chat so that people can communicate with you if they need your service. So I'm going to begin with Madame Balemba Cecilia.
Hello, please can everybody get me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening to everyone, and I'm happy to be here once more again for another session for the Africa Digital Conference. Last year was a blast, so I know this year is going to create more changes. So I am called Balemba Cecilia from Cameroon. I'm a creative specialist and also a tutor. Um, for what I've been doing, I've been in the journey of encouraging women to accept tech-oriented careers because starting off entering into graphic design, I faced some kind of challenges because where I grew up, it made it look like maybe women could not really involve themselves into tech. So when I was able to maybe overcome that challenge, I took it to myself to also encourage other young women in the society to not listen to what society has to say, but to take on themselves. If they really want to do something, they should go for it. So as far I've been able to teach 100 plus youths who have been able to grasp graphic design skills and they are doing well for themselves. They are working, some are working in companies, some are out of the country. And more to that, I have been able to gain some recognitions, gain awards, and all that. And my focus has not only been on graphic design, it has also been on how we can relate graphic design to improve innovation in Africa because it feels like they both are always separated. And to do that, I have been able to join graphic design with branding and see how creatives cannot only stay at the technical part, but also involve creativity to innovation. And also, when it comes to career building, I also host portfolio classes and career classes to help youth on how to look for jobs after school. Uh, I think that's all for now. And I think during the session, you're going to learn more and know more about me. Thank you very much. You can have the
Thank you
floor.
very much,
Yeah.
Madam Balemba. So we move to Madam Leah. Madam Leah, are you there? All right. While Madam Leah sorts out her technical issues, we move to Madam Ibrahim. So just tell us what you do and how helpful it can to, the participants who just join us. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's an honor. Can everybody hear me, please?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be here today at the African Digital Conference, and today being the last day of the 3 days virtual session. So, sharing this space with some of Africa's brightest minds, innovators, entrepreneurs, and leaders, and shaping that is shaping our continent's future. So let me appreciate the organizers and everyone that have been part of this session since a Monday. It has been a wonderful one. And at the same time, let me start with a few numbers of what we are really discussing tonight, which is women and youths in tech driving Africa's tech innovation and startup revolution. So we have over 60% of our population in Africa are within the age of are under the age of 25. You see, this is a demographic dividend and a massive opportunity, and yet women are still underrepresented in tech, making up less than 30% of tech founders across the continent. But despite this, a lot of women and youth are still leading some of the most innovative solutions that are transforming Africa. As Angela Merkel is not an African, but a German, but still, he said something that really stuck with me. He once said, the future of the world will be decided in Africa. Meaning that future depends on our youth, on our women, and on the opportunities that we create today. My name is Ibrahim Rama Ikeoluwa. I'm a PR strategist, international speaker, coach, and the founder of the Rama Speaks and the Global Growth Circle. And through these platforms, I've dedicated myself to empowering young leaders and entrepreneurs across Africa and beyond. At the Global Growth Circle, what we do is that we bridge the opportunity gap that is often faced by a lot of young people across the globe. And then while we make them to have access to opportunities, we do not let it stop there. We mentor them, we guide them on how to get those opportunities. So that's our work at TGC. And as a PR strategist, I've been opportune to work with various brands, both national and international ones, and providing solutions to their feasibility issue why we use various technology tools. Yes, I think that's all for now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so we move to Mr. Steve Ugo. Please,
Hello,
Mr.
good
Steve.
morning. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're following from. So my name is Steve Ogo, and thank you so much for. I want to start by extending my deepest gratitude to the organizers of the African Digital Conference 2026 for their invitation for me to join this panel discussion. It is an honor to be back again and to be able to share, and not just to share, but also to incorporate ideas and be able to learn from one another. So yes, my name is Steve Ogo, and I've spent my life work obsessing over one fundamental question, which is, who are we building our world for? So as we continue with the discussion, I'm very eager to get to learn from the rest of the panel and just get to see, because most of the time, yes, we know what we need to do, but the question is how we need to do it in our country specific context. So I'm looking forward to learning and getting to hear from what has worked from other countries and what we can also incorporate in our own countries and scale it up in the communities that we serve. So thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to an amazing discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ugo, for that brief talk. So we are going to move to, the Q&A. I have a few questions which I think it's going to help us, elaborate more
Hello.
on the. Yes, Madam
Hi,
Leah?
good evening. Yeah, I'm here now.
Okay, good evening. All right, over to you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Apologies for earlier. Good evening, everyone. And it's great to be here and also meet with and also connect with like great minds here. I'm Leah Ogunleye, and beyond the titles and the bio that was read earlier, my work has always been about one thing, which is creating access. I'm currently the senior brand manager at Dot Microfinance Bank, a fintech here in Nigeria. And over the years, my work has cut across the intersection of tech, marketing, and community building, especially helping women and young people not just to enter the tech space, but also find visibility, confidence, and real opportunity to grow and build sustainable careers. I'm passionate about the inclusion because growing up, I've seen firsthand how the right exposure to subject can completely change someone's trajectory, especially when we are from an humble background. Right. I'm also excited to share practical insight today. And I'm also looking forward to learn from everyone here as we continue to shape a more inclusive tech ecosystem in Africa. Thank you, and I'm glad to be here.
All right, thank you very much. So, being a digital strategist, my first question will go to you, Madam Leah, so don't go, please. So, being a digital strategist from a strategy perspective, how can you leverage digital platforms to build influence, careers, or businesses with limited resources? I don't know if you got my question.
Yeah, I got your question. Thank you very
Okay.
much for that question. What I would advise is if from a strategy perspective, right? And how can a youth leverage digital platforms to build influence, careers, or businesses with limited resources? Truth be told, I've been there. Starting out in tech, I had no idea what I was getting into, but I just added that nudge, that passion in me, or that potential to know that, oh, I wanted more, and I can do more. So the first thing I would advise is that you should start with clarity from strategy perspective, right? Start with clarity, not to. I always advise young people to pick one platform and define one clear problem you want to solve. At that point, as from this strategy point of view, you don't want to think about, oh, I don't have a smartphone, oh, I don't have the aesthetically pleasing room, I don't have the outfits to create video content. No, the first thing is clarity, and not to, oh, I don't have ring lights, I don't have things. Well, from the strategy point of view, you want to be clear on what you want to do. Why do you want to build influence, right? Why do you want to do this? You have to be clear on that thing. Then you can now define a problem that you want to solve and show up consistently with value-driven content. When you are clear on what you want to do, then you have a problem that you want to solve. What do you want to solve? Are you a nursing student to say, oh, I really want to educate people about some certain thing as a nursing student? Why do you want to show up? And also, influence doesn't come from having everything. You just have to start with what you have. It comes from being useful when you are visible and when you are credible. There are also so many tools out there that can help you tell strategic storytelling and community engagement that can outperform big budgets when used intentionally. That your smartphone, trust me, there are free tools, there are editing video editing tools that you can use to elevate your videos, or editing tools that you can use to elevate your pictures. If you cannot do videos, there are Canva is a tool that you can use to create engaging carousel. So there are tools out there. Once you are clear on why you want to show up. And also, I also advise that you pick a platform to start with so you don't burn out or you are not overwhelmed. You don't want to be on LinkedIn, you want to be on TikTok, Instagram, and all of the platform. You can pick one platform to start with. As a career person that you are limited with gadgets, you can start with LinkedIn. LinkedIn does not require you to create a lot of videos right now. Or you start with X, where you do a lot of text, right? So start with one platform also, so you don't get burnt out trying to be everywhere. Then gradually, as you grow, you continue to improve with your tools, with the way you create your content. And I think that will help you build the influence. And also, if you look back at people that you look up to on the online platform currently, they started somewhere. If you look at some people's throwback, you'll be wow that, oh, so this person actually started from here. The qualities of their videos, of their content are not as great as it is now. Assuming they didn't start at that time, they wouldn't have built so much influence. So I'm going to reiterate again, start with clarity, right? Have a problem that you want to solve, and also start with one platform and show up consistently. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Just a quick question, a follow-up question to what you've just shared with us. So in this the digital industry, or this industry which we find ourselves, we notice that it is really dominated by men. So how can women build digital confidence and authority in this industry, which is, really dominated by men?
All right, thank you for that question again. So authority comes from showing your thinking, not waiting for permission. You don't have to wait for permission from anyone before you show up as a woman. Women should share their perspective, case studies and experiences publicly, even before they feel ready. And that's where consistency comes in, right? Evidence-based content and community support help build confidence. Visibility creates credibility, and credibility attracts opportunity. And I think as women, one thing about us is that we always need validation. Look out for validation before we get started. But I'm encouraging you as a woman that you want to, build digital confidence. You don't have to wait for anyone to give you that permission. You have to show up for yourself. Show up and also show your thinking, not waiting for permission. If you don't show, people will not trust you. People will not know what you are capable of. So you can build digital confidence and authority by sharing your experiences, your experience, your case studies, your perspectives, even when you don't have the right experiences yet, or you're just starting out. You can share your learning curves, your failures, your starting points, right? That way you can build your confidence along the way. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that. I hope, I don't know if there are any questions. If you have any questions which you want to direct to Madam Leah, you are free to do so in the chat, and we can easily pick the questions, and we are going to, read out to her. All right, my next question goes to Madam Ibrahim. So, Madam Ibrahim, you are a PR strategist. So, my question goes thus: what PR or visibility mistakes hold back young founders and professionals in Africa,
Okay, thank you very
especially from Nigeria? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. It's like it's something that I've noticed because being someone that I've been working with young people, even though I'm a young person as well. So one of like the number one is I'll still go to what this speaker has said, that you don't have to wait before you start. Just know your wow. Why? So this the problem is that many people wait too long to communicate. Many founders wait too long to communicate what they are doing. And the biggest mistake is that you thinking that you must be fully ready, or you have to be successful before you show up publicly, or before you let people know what the kind of problem that you are solving. It's something that was really it's hold a lot of founders back in Africa, most especially in Nigeria. And another common mistake is that the inconsistent in storytelling. You know, somebody that wants to be build a fintech startup, you come online today, you tell us you what you want to do, you tell us the prototype and all, but after today we do not see you again till maybe next week. You come and tell us another thing or something like that. So as a founder that is just that, it is very important that you have to be consistent in your storytelling. Let people sometimes even some stories that you might feel like it's your failure, it's that thing that people want to know, because everybody doesn't want to listen to just people that just come and motivate or just say words that as if things just happen easily or they just get to the top. People want to see your growth. Yes, let me put it that way. They want to see your growth. They want to see that, okay, as at last year this was where you were, and this year this is where you are. So a lot of founders often mistake that, okay, they have to be perfect to show up, or it's only the good thing that is happening in their businesses or startup that they need to show to people. And another thing is that many founders focus only on what they do and not the problem that they solve or the impact they create. That's one of the biggest PR or feasibility mistake that's hold young founders back in Nigeria. So instead of you to focus on only what you are doing, focus on the problem that you are solving and the impact that you are creating. So if you are telling people your story, you don't just say, okay, you don't just say that, okay, what this is what you do at your startup. You talk about the problem that your startup is solving. Saying what you do, a lot of people that are even facing that problem too might not think about it. But when you talk about this is what we are doing, you're talking about the problem, that this is the problem that we are trying to solve. Entrepreneurship is all about you providing solution to people's daily life problem, or probably or community problem, or even a country's problem. So many founders focus only on what they do instead of the problem they are solving or the impact that they are creating. And another problem is that underutilizing data, testimonials and outcomes weakens credibility. And especially when pitching for partnership or funding, it is very important that you, just like I've said, you show, like, let people know the process and not just the outcome. Show people the process, and then even the outcome. Give testimonials about people that have been able to benefit from your product or your startup. Give full stories. So sometimes people want to, that story that you might feel it's not interested might be what would interest that particular investor or that particular person that wants to partner with your brand. So it is very, very important that you don't underutilize data, but you use it for your own benefits. And then another thing is that silence is also a form of communication. And often it costs you more than feasibility, because sometimes you have you ever been to some rooms that whereby, or even have friends that are getting some opportunities that you are supposed to be getting, or you are even in terms of career growth, you have gone beyond them, but because you are not putting yourself out there, you are not having enough visibility. People that are not doing up to what you are doing are the one getting the opportunities. So it is very, very important that we as young Africans, we as young tech startup founders, focus on ensuring that we have enough visibility. As long as we are doing the work, let's be putting it out there. Let people see it. This is 2026. Enough of just doing the work without showing it. Enough of just doing the work without and just having in mind that you are doing the work, at least you are putting in the effort. That's enough of that. Because do you know how many opportunities that you've lost just because you were not sharing your process, you were not sharing your stories? So let's focus on that. Let's solve that problem. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So I will come back to you with maybe another question, if any. So I'm moving now to Mr. Steve. So, Mr. Steve, from an inclusion and justice perspective, what system, what systemic barrier continues to prevent women and young people from fully participating in the tech ecosystem?
Very interesting. So, when we speak of justice, we must acknowledge that the digital divide is not, like it's not just an issue of, it's not just a gap in terms of access, but it's more of a structural blockade. Historically, we have seen, I call it in quotes, I call it digital redlining, where the infrastructure and investment are concentrated on high income urban areas. And this is what has been happening, especially in the country that I'm from. So I reside in the city, in the capital city, Nairobi. So Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya. And not just Nairobi only, but we have three capital cities. We have Nairobi, Kisumu, and Mombasa. So these are the major capital cities in Kenya. But one thing that is very common in these three capital cities is that infrastructures and investment are widely concentrated there. But now here's the problem. When we put a lot of emphasis, when we allocate a lot of infrastructure and resources in the urban center, we, other marginalized, the small towns and the rural peripheries are left in the state of, you know, data poverty. And especially for women and young people, you know, um, this is compounded by, the double burden of domestic expectation and the high income cost. And in most Kenyan households, the girl side is the last to even touch a laptop. And this is a reality because we are still, you know, um, we are still, we've not, like gender, like we are not there in terms of giving women and young people opportunities. And you'll find most of opportunities, especially when it comes to the girl child, they're mostly left behind. And when it comes to opportunities, most of them are still left behind. And this is, we are still, like I've seen a lot of improvement, but I'll still acknowledge that we still have a barrier in terms of women and young people accessing opportunity. And yeah, furthermore, we also face the resource gap. So there's also like an issue of resources. in the venture capital landscape. Kenya is referred as the Silicon Savannah, as most of us have heard of, but a lot of women and young people don't have much resources for them to be able to access, to be able to participate in the tech ecosystem. And like even in Kenya, which is referred as the Silicon Savannah, women-led startups received a small fraction of funding compared to their male counterpart. And this is not because they don't have the talent, but it's because it's a there's bias. There's a lot of biasness in the pattern, and we like we fill this gap by I work with this organization. I work with Youth Spaces Africa, and we've been trying to consolidate and be able to fill these gaps by moving from just charity to equity, and like not just giving women an opportunity or a position to the organization, but also to ensure that the ones who are beneficiaries and the ones who are part and parcel of our programming have the capital and the ownership for them to stay, to be able to retain in the organization, because most of them don't have the resources. And also at the county level, because I am part of I sit at the Youth Advisory Council in the in the county government of Nairobi. We've also been trying to not just give women a seat at the table, but also to ensure that they have the resources and ownership for them to stay at the table. And most of the time, you'll realize when we give, and this is something that because I'm also a young person, this is something that I have, like this is something that we've been facing. So most of the time when young people are given an opportunity to speak, mostly in these high-level meetings, most of the time you'll find that whatever they say is not taken serious and being acted upon. And I've been asking myself, why, like why does that happen in the first place? And I I came to realize that young people are not regarded as expert per se, and yet young people are expert in their own experience. So yes, we trust young people with information, but we don't trust them with decision-making roles. We trust young people with the right information, but we don't trust them with money. So it's not about inclusivity per se, but inclusivity, it has to be, for me, inclusion is not just including young people and women, but it's making them to be part and parcel of the whole discussion. From the moment that you're drafting, you're coming up with the intervention, you need to engage them from that point, and not just them being participants, but them being part and parcel of the drafting process. So
All right.
yeah, yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Steve. So my next question is addressed to Madame Balemba. So, Madame Balemba, what tools or digital skills should young designers master to stay competitive in a fast evolving tech landscape?
Okay, can everybody get me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thanks for the question. I think the first tool that any person that wants to venture into design should look now should be AI. Like, before without AI, it was very easy. It was a little bit difficult. Like, if you want to really learn some skills in design, you need to go maybe a course training for maybe a year. You need to be able to look at very good YouTube channels. And at times, you may not really find the good ones. You might find the ones that are not really teaching very well. So the first tool that a creative for me should learn now if entering into the design career should be AI. Because if you can master AI now very well, it's going to give you access to some information that you might use a lot of time to learn, but in a very short period of time, you can still acquire that same knowledge without stressing like before. So in case like maybe you want to study a particular application, you can just go to AI and say, okay, I'm a beginner and I wish to learn this application from scratch. Can you please search on the web and give me access to better tutors, better schools? AI is going to help you and bring you a list of people that can easily train you better off than before when we could not have these information at first hand. So first, I'll start by saying you should master and learn AI very well. And when you learn AI, don't use it like a replacement, use it like an assistant. It doesn't mean because if you're learning AI, then it's going to now replace what you're supposed to do, like you become lazy. Instead of maybe learning the software that you wanted to learn, which is going to help you to produce visuals, you start then not depending on AI to do everything for you. Like if I want to create this, how can I design me a logo, design a flyer? That one is coming back. So AI helps you in the level of assisting you and not replacing you and not doing all the job for you. Because if AI starts doing everything for you, then you're no longer a creative. Because a creative are problem solvers. They are given a problem and then you use your creative skills. Somebody said something.
No, go ahead.
Okay, you use your creative skills to create beautiful visuals that communicate ideas. So if at the tail end, learning AI is just to maybe replace that side of a creative, which is problem solving, then you've really failed. Another thing you should do is mastering design softwares. As a creative, we don't design from nothing. You need to use softwares. If there's anybody on this call that wants to begin their design journey, I will advise them to start with the Adobe Suite. Adobe Suite is good because it helps you to interact between one application to another without possibly maybe signing out. If, for example, if you're working maybe with Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, you don't need to go out from one app to another. If there is something you've corrected in InDesign and you're using that same file maybe in Photoshop, once you save up that file in Photoshop, it's going to save automatically in the next software. So if there's any person in this call that wants to begin their journey as a designer or in the creative field, please start with Adobe Suite. They are very good and very functional, and it's not going to waste you a lot of time. Secondly, you should develop, aside being a creative, which people have made it known like we are only left at the technical level. We need to learn soft skills. When I talk about soft skills, I'm talking about communication skills. You need to learn how to communicate because a designer is a problem solver. You are creating, you're using your creativity to create beautiful visuals that communicate. You're not creating it for beauty. You're creating to be able to solve a problem. Like you should be able to attract people and not just attract them for nothing, but able to attract people and communicate a particular message through it. So if as a designer you lack communication skills, it's a big problem because your visuals are supposed to communicate. And if yourself you lack communication skills, I can imagine what you can create as a visual to communicate a particular message. If, for example, there is this phenomenon in communications called the telephone effect, which is that a message before reaching maybe the fourth person has already changed narratives. So if you as a designer, you have to create a visual to communicate a problem. It can be for an enterprise, for an application that a startup is building in Africa. A visual to communicate a problem can be, and your visual is not communicating the problem. It can be beautiful, but then it's not communicating the problem. Just imagine 1, 2, 3, 5 people reading at that visual. Imagine what is going to happen. If you, as a designer yourself, while creating, you lack communication skills, and then you're just creating for creating sake. It's not communicating anything. The first person is going to read it, and the person will not understand. The person will go and tell another person what they did not understand, and that's how miscommunication keeps on moving and keeps on moving. So if you're going to enter into the designer space, you should learn how to communicate and also learn how to present your work. You can know how to work well, but if you don't know how to really present that work in a better way, people will not understand you. Just like how you're holding this call, I think the speakers had PowerPoint presentation. As a designer, you need to be able to present what you're doing. Like if you're called upon to say, okay, how did you work on this particular creative? You don't need to stop. You don't need to start stammering and say, you should be able to stand and say, okay, I use this element because I wanted it to portray this and this and that. That is what you should be looking at. Another thing you should be looking at is personal branding. In a world where everybody can actually do anything that is creative oriented, like for example, we have now Canva, who can basically create flyer templates. We have now AI. So for you to be able to maybe grow as a designer in the creative space, you need to have a personal brand. Personal brand is going to help you create a particular niche in the creative space that people will look for you whenever they need that particular service. The creative space is very broad. So if you're focusing that you can do everything, you're going to face challenges. You can be a jack of all trade and master of none. In this age and time, you should be able to have a particular niche that you have crafted and you are learning every day, you're improving every day in such a way that if people are looking for that particular niche, you're the first person they are going to. It can be motion design, it can be UX, UI, it can be software development, anyone you choose you can be logo design, building of brands for companies and all that. Choose a particular niche. You build a personal brand around it so that when there is a need for that particular thing in your career, you are easily picked out and you're positioned for that. Another thing you can do is collaborate. Don't sit on your own, like as how everybody said. Yeah, opportunities will not come to you. Opportunities will go for people that are ready. Don't sit and fold your hands and waiting for things to come to you. Look for you can volunteer. You can be maybe in a space where you don't have the ability to work on projects that can really put you out there. Don't sit. We have social media, we have LinkedIn, we have so many platforms. Like I said, there is AI. If with AI today, if you cannot grow career-wise, it means you're having a problem. You can go to AI, search around me, volunteering jobs, look for those jobs that can push you, that can move you from where you are to other, and put you in places where you will be learning new knowledge. Collaborate in real-time projects. Leave fictional projects and all that. This is good. It's going to help you because designers at the beginning stage, you may not have maybe clients. You're just starting up and the competition is tight. So you may find yourself creating fictional projects that you can use in your portfolio that can help you build or go in for career positions that are really great. But then people will not want to employ you if everything you're doing is fictional. People want real-time results. So instead of waiting and working only on fictional projects, you can go and collaborate in real-time projects. They may not pay you, but you are going there because you want to gain value. You're gaining experience that can help you in the future. Um, Another thing I would like to talk about, lastly, is change your mindset. If you're saying that, okay, designing, you might not go anywhere with it. Trust me that you'll not go anywhere with designing. If you just say, okay, designing is just to create flyers, you're going to stay there. I believe in today's society, you can start up in the creative space as just a designer, and tomorrow you're working like an artistic director, you're working like a creative director, and these positions remove you from just maybe normal designing work where you're just told what to do this, do that, to positions where you're also involved in the strategy building. You're involved in how the company wants to solve the issues. You're not just at the last end when everything has been done and it's okay, this is what we want to do for the company. Take design as a flyer to communicate this to our audience. No. So I think that is how somebody entering the design space can really work out themselves and build a very profitable career in design. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Balami, for that explicit explanation. So my last question for this segment goes to Madam Ibrahim. So Madam Ibrahim, what strategies help young people tell compelling stories about their work in tech, even at early stages?
Okay. The number one strategy that I'm going to say, which has really worked for me and other young people that are on that I mentored, is that you must start with your why. Know your why. Like, what problem are you trying to solve? And why does it matter to you? Because along the line, there is no career path that you want to choose that you won't face challenge. But it is you knowing your why that will keep you going, that will keep you abreast in your career. There is nothing you want to do that you won't be challenged. Challenges will come. So, but it is your why that will keep you going. And let me recommend this book, Know Your Why. You can search for it online. I've forgotten the author's name, but it's something that I read maybe a few years back, and it has really worked for me. There is nothing you want to do that you won't find the book useful for. And another thing is, after you know your why, after you know that okay, this is the problem I'm trying to solve, and this is why it matters to me, and this is why I feel like it is important, is that you should I'm talking based on the PR strategies perspective right now, is that you should always share your learning journey. It's not until you don't have to wait till when you have everything figured out. Even just when you are starting, start sharing your learning journey. Share it, no, and it's not just only your wins that you have to share. Share your experimentation. Share the things that doesn't goes well, things that you try and it doesn't give you the right answer. Share it. And just like other speakers have talked about it, this is the world of social media. So as it is, you have to just be the one to put yourself out there. It is not during our parents' time or our forefathers' time whereby they don't have access to even phone, not to talk of different social media apps and even the advent of AI. So make use of social media as your own, what should I call it? Let it be a tool that you are using to leverage. One of the things that I noticed, one of the problems that I noticed that we are also facing in Africa is the fact that a lot of our young people are wasting their time on social media instead of them to use it to learn skills that will pay them, instead of them to use it to for things that would add value to them, or even use it to make money. Some of them just use it to watch irrelevant contents that are not relevant to their career, to their personal growth, content that doesn't add anything to them. So you as a young person, as a young startup, know what you are using your time to do. Use social media. What are you like? How many hours are you spending on social media per day, and how is it helping you? I'm not saying you should not have fun. You should not use it for relaxation, but also ensure that you are using it to learn things that are beneficial to you. We have YouTube that you can learn a lot of skills there. A lot, you can learn a lot on YouTube even if you do not have money, as long as you have your data. So another thing that I feel like, another strategy that I think you can use is that use this simple framework. And the simple framework is this: we have problem, action, result, and lesson. Once you identify the problem, then get into action. Just start. You don't have to have all the necessary solution, but that just one solution that you have, get into action. Then result, when you try for the first time, when you try a particular method, the results that you get, then lesson, you try to be like, oh, me going this way, this is what it bring out. Then you pick out the lessons that you learn from it, and you also pick out the fact that okay, if you do it this way, this is the answer that you're going to get. Oh, you think about, oh, what if I do it in other ways? What if I do it in other particular ways? So you do it that way. And another strategy that you can use is document consistently. I'll still use social media, you know, use short videos, do behind the scene, you do use content reflection, try to just things that would show your journey to the world, that will show to people that oh, you are really passionate about your growth, that will show to people that okay, you are spending time doing that meaningful things that you want to do, you are spending time building that startup, you are spending time creating solution to African problem. So storytelling is very, very important, and its impact on startup cannot be overemphasized, most especially at early stage. So storytelling also builds trust, and trust often becomes before traction. Trust would come before people you get that recognition, you get that reward or that award. So focus on storytelling. Storytelling method, its importance cannot be overemphasized. Yes, so fellow African youth, let's continue to ensure that okay, we are using these strategies that I've talked about. The number one thing, let me be brief. You start with your why. You know your why, then you share your learning journey, and not just your win. Remember, share your failure. Don't feel bad when you fail, even though it is normal as human to feel bad, but still share it with people. Let people see your journey, let them feel it, let them be part of it, and then document consistently. Journaling also works as well. You can use journaling to track your goals. You can use it to plan things that you want to do for the week, and then you get to tick it. So as a young person, as a young tech startup or founder, always journal your activities, and don't forget to always share your stories on your social pages. Just like one of the speakers said, that okay, you can start from one app so that you won't feel overwhelmed. You can also start from one app and ensure that you are intentional using that app. Okay, let me share this quick story of how I was able to use my LinkedIn last year. I have LinkedIn since 2021, but I've not been active about it on this space. I've not been active on LinkedIn. I just have the app there. So, but this thing that I want to say, just last year, as at February, I just sat down and I be like, oh, I want to build my LinkedIn page just like I've built my Facebook that I have thousands of followers. Okay, I really want to. I became intentional about it, in short. So just before 2025 ended, now I have 1,000 and something followers, which is something. Though it's not just about the followers, but then on LinkedIn I've been able to meet with different people that have helped my career progression. I've been able to get opportunities. I've been able to get work through LinkedIn, through me showing up consistently on LinkedIn. So in fact, people that you might think they are not engaging on your post, they are saying it. You just see them all of a sudden, they'll message you from so. And then another beautiful thing that I get to love about the LinkedIn is that, in fact, people from different parts of the world, from different continents beyond Africa, were reaching out to me, and even up till now. So it's a great thing. And I would implore us as young persons to keep on showing up on social media consistently. It is very, very important. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for that explicit explanation. So please, we are open to questions. So we're picking out some questions from the chat. You can redirect your question to a particular speaker, or you can, direct your question to someone, to the general platform for anyone to answer your question. So I'm just going to go through the chat and see if there are any questions. Let me see. All right, so there are no questions. Please, if there is any question for the panelists, any question, please. All right, so we'll move to the next panel discussion. And this will include two great minds, which we are going to have a tete-a-tete discussion, exchange some few words, which I believe is really going to help our audience to understand better. But first, I'm going to introduce the two speakers who will be coming up for the next segment. So the first speaker is Mr. Eninaya, all the way from Nigeria, I think. So Mr. Eninaya Oreduba is a distinguished serial entrepreneur, renowned trainer, author, brand connoisseur, and a TEDx curator and speaker whose work continues to shape Africa's innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem. Eninaya is the CEO and managing director of Beacon Innovative Solutions Limited, formerly Beacon Media and Communication Services, a company he founded at the age of 21. His entrepreneurial journey reflects a deep commitment to building scalable ventures and empowering founders with the tools needed to succeed in competitive and evolving markets. A passionate ecosystem builder, Eninaya has trained and mentored over 5,000 entrepreneurs through high-impact programs across Nigeria and beyond. He has served as editor and course director for the Faith Foundation's Aspiring Entrepreneurship Digital Program in partnership with Meta Nigeria, and has played a key role in the Kaduna Digital Entrepreneurship Incubation Program, a flagship initiative of the Kaduna State government supported by the Rockefeller Foundation, World Bank Group, and Ventures Platform. His leadership and influence extends across multiple platforms, including roles as Northwest Zonal Coordinator Nigeria for the African Youth Union Commission, president of GCI Arewa, mentor at the Tony Elumelu Foundation, and a member of the Forbes Black Founders Community. Eninaya's contributions have earned him several prestigious recognitions, including the World Confederation of Business Awards for Excellence in Business and Faith Foundation Volunteer Facilitator of the Year Award 2021. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eninaya, all the way from Nigeria. Our next speaker on the panel is Mr. Jacob. So, Mr. Jacob Kasambio is the founder of Environment and Climate Operation Africa, that ECO Africa, and a leading advocate for sustainability, circular economy, innovation, and climate-driven entrepreneurship across Africa. Through ECO Africa, Jacob works at the intersection of environmental sustainability, technology, and community-led development, empowering local communities to design and lead climate solutions that create real economic and environmental impact. His work spans sustainable agriculture, waste management, extended producer responsibility, and circular economy models that promote long-term resilience. Job brings a strong innovation mindset to climate action, integrated digital tools, data analytics, AI-driven solutions, and mobile technology to track environmental impact, strengthen sustainability goals, and unlock new livelihood opportunities. His approach demonstrates how startups and digital innovation can accelerate Africa's green transition while supporting inclusive economic growth. A strong believer in community-centered innovation, Job collaborates with policymakers, startups, businesses, nonprofit, and ecosystem builders to co-create solutions that merge sustainability with digital advancement. His work continues to show how innovation in the climate space can scale beyond pilots into systems that serve people, markets, and the planet. So, Mr. Jacob, you are highly welcome. So we're going to do as usual. We give you 1 minute only to talk a little bit about your business. We've already done the introduction, so you don't need to introduce yourself again. Just tell us your name so that they will know who is talking. And just tell us about your business, the services which you offer. Thank you very much. So I'll begin with Mr. Jacob. Mr. Jacob, can you get me, please? Since Mr. Jacob is not here. All right, since Mr. Jacob is not here, we move to Mr. Eninaya. Please, can you unmute your mic and give us, tell us a little bit about your business, the services which you offer?
Okay, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Nigeria and Africa and the entire part of the world, wherever it is you're listening to me from. My name is Eninaya Radumba. As rightfully introduced, I am team lead at Beacon Global Ventures LLC, and we're a tech-driven company with expertise in advertising, branding, consulting, IT, media, and training. This business will be clocking 15 years in a couple of weeks from now. We actually established on the 10th of February 2011, and I established this business at the age of 21. So 15 years in business. I train entrepreneurs, and basically those are the things that I do, or those are the things we do at Beacon. Thank you very, very much. Moderator, are you here with me? Okay.
All right, thank you very much for that introduction. So my first question goes thus, from your experience mentoring entrepreneurs, what leadership gap do you see in the early stage startups?
Okay, so a major gap that I've discovered that a lot of early startups have is the issue of accountability. Now, accountability not necessarily for the business, even though that is also very, very important, but accountability in the area of self. So when I mean accountability, if you are committed to building a startup, like one of the speakers already alluded to, there's a need for you to begin to invest the necessary time, effort, and energy in it, even when it doesn't look like it is. So accountability will mean that you hold yourself to high esteem to say, you know what, I have to give in everything that is required to this particular startup to work. Accountability will mean that you are requiring from yourself a judicious use of your time, a judicious use of your energy, a judicious use of your resources, starting with you first, before you can now begin to demand that from other persons like your employee. Now, accountability in business will mean that you know every penny that goes in and out of the business. Accountability will mean that you know your business in and out. Accountability will mean that you are willing to put in the work required and the staying power that required to grow your business. Unfortunately, so this is one thing that is lacking in our business space in Africa and even in the world today. That is why you see a lot of startups after raising millions of dollars, you just discover that at the end of the day, the startup is really nowhere to be found. I mean, so it tells you that money was not the problem, but it was an accountability problem. So that is one major gap that I've discovered in the space when it comes to startups and early entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. So my second question goes thus, what skills should startup leaders develop? What skills should startup leaders develop to navigate uncertainty and rapid change?
Okay, so one of the there are a couple of them, but let me even go back to the issue of so number one, you must be accountable to yourself. Very, very important. I've already stressed on that. Then another thing an entrepreneur should do is should have as a skill is people management. Very, very important. Now you need to know where to deploy the necessary skills that are needed in your business. And I always will tell people always hire your deficiency. There's never a complete entrepreneur on the surface of the earth. The likes of Tony Elumelu, the likes of Otedola and Dangote that we are seeing today, go and check. They've been able to bring in people to fit into the gaps where you might, as an entrepreneur, you might be good with finance, but you're not good when it comes to marketing. So what do? You deploy people in that particular space, and your ability to be able to manage them and manage the expectations, manage your expectation, manage the expectation of the business, manage the expectation of the clients is also very, very important. Therefore, I also would recommend that every entrepreneur should have a high emotional intelligence. Very, very, very key. They should be resilient, because the truth is Rome was not built in a day, like they always say. But we've discovered that in recent time, we have people who will give in or throw in the towel as soon as things are not aligning. You see, every business requires tenacity. Every business requires that don't get resolved. Now, you also have to be open-minded. In other words, you have to be teachable, because there are still aspects of your businesses that you are not too clear about because you're just starting a particular journey. Therefore, it becomes imperative to learn from your employees, to learn from your colleagues or partners in business, and to also get mentorship. That way, you are able to learn and piece things together. Now, I always will say again, another skill that an entrepreneur should have is your ability to ask the right questions, because it's very, very, very key to ask the right questions. Know where to get the right information, and I'm betting you'll be the better for it. Thank you.
very much for that. I believe we have participants who will equally have some few questions. But my last question for you is, how can African startups build systems, culture, and governance early without slowing innovation?
Okay, so the first thing is to actually solve a problem. Now, what we've seen in recent times are people who are offering entrepreneurship as a service. And that's a big problem in Africa. So the first thing is, like one of the speakers said, what is your why? You must have to have a strong reason. Let me use Beacon as an example. Every aspect of our business we've dabbled into was as a result of a gap we've noticed with our clientele. So we started on online radio some 4 years ago, and we have listeners in about 120 countries and counting. Why did we have to do that? We discovered that having done all of these things to help our clients put their brands out there, we discovered that there were literally no radio stations, or very few radio stations, that you could place your advert on, and people within the 6 states of Nigeria will get to listen to your advert simultaneously. And because we had a job from Faith Foundation, there was a particular time they wanted to put out a program, and they wanted participants across all borders of Nigeria. Now that was very, very difficult. Imagine engaging about 20 to 30 radio stations, and monitoring was a nightmare. And that was a gap that we saw. And that was why we now say, you know what, let's build a business around it. Now, one thing I discovered about African entrepreneurs is that we tend to build businesses that we like or we are in love with, and now begin to pray and fast for customers to patronize us. While in the proper sense, the way to build is to identify a problem and then identify a market you want to serve, and then now build a business around it. Because when you talk about culture, policies, and all of that, it has to be built around the customer base that you're serving. When they say customer is king, how I understand it as an entrepreneur, having been in business for over a decade, is that the customer is the most important factor in the survival of that business. So what it means is that you are not you're not wishing. My brother St. German said something. I mean, you're not spraying and hoping, or more like you're not shooting randomly and hoping to hit a target. No, everything you're doing is targeted and particular. So I'll give an example. When you're coming up with your brand colors, it's not colors that you like. It's supposed to be colors that should appeal to the kind of market that you're serving. So when you're going into marketing, take for instance, your marketing approach should be completely different. Now, the truth is there are different marketing approach for different product class. So if you're doing something high end, your marketing approach is completely different. When you're doing something middle class, your marketing approach is completely different. When you're doing a fast consumer moving goods, you deploy what is called the guerrilla marketing. So I don't know who gave African entrepreneurs this illusion that your business must have to be tailored in a particular manner for us to think you are succeeding. The goal here is not to look like we're succeeding. The goal is actually to succeed. So some businesses, on a serious note, does not even have any business on social media. I'll give an example. So take, for instance, you're consulting for the big oil corporations. Those businesses only will thrive on referrals. So you should focus your energy in building an excellent culture to ensure that at any given point in time, or any project that you're handed over to, is being delivered with a touch of excellence and nothing more. Excellence. Now that's a culture. Now, but the whole thing starts from the visionary himself, the entrepreneur. That is why when you hold yourself accountable, it begins to trickle down into the business. Now, how many of us even audit our books? In the past, it was just recently that I constituted a board in the organization. But guess what? In the past 10 years, I've been auditing myself, even when nobody was looking at the book. Do you know why? Because I know that one day, a day will come. By the way, I just have 5 more years to run the helm of to be at the helm of affairs at Beacon before I move on to become the chairman and let somebody else run the organization. But you see, I have to be deliberate about putting structures and systems in place. But it starts with me. So if you're accountable to yourself, it trickles down to even the organization. If you're a person of excellence and you pay attention to details, it also trickles down to form part of the pillars that the organization is being built upon. If you're somebody who is quite honest, it will also trickle down in your organization. There are things that my employees will not bring to me because they know that it's a no-no. You understand? There are some issues that I already told them in the office. There are some things you don't bring to me because that is why I employed you. So if you're not innovative enough, then you don't fit into the bill. So you see, when you create an enabling environment where all of these kind of things can thrive, then you begin to have an organization that begins to have a structure, that begins to, now it's a structure, it's not about the numbers. Let me also say this categorically clear. It's not until you come and post that you have like 20, 40 staffs on social media that will assume that you're a success. That's wrong notion. Because sometimes most people end up struggling paying salaries because a large chunk of the people that you have in your organization, you don't need them. Then another way to also build structure in your organization is to inculcate technology into it. That's why at the beginning of the introduction, I said we are a tech-driven firm. Gone are the eras where you are only a banking firm. No, you are a tech firm offering banking services. So the inculcation of tech will help minimize excesses. And then on a final note, you need to constantly monitor the progress of your business. You always have to go back to the drawing board. And one thing I will advise every entrepreneur in this particular room is that record keeping is crucial. Why is record keeping crucial? Record keeping will tell you the areas where your business is bleeding. And if you keep records, you are able to make sound decisions. Let me just give you a scenario and I close. Some 5, 6, 7 years ago, we discovered that 50% to 40% of our profits was going on power. Because we couldn't afford to start telling clients that, we are having a power issue in Nigeria. So we got generators that could run the whole day for us so that we were able to deliver. But that was a huge cost on our own part. So we of course, were able to make that decision because we saw our records. And then we now made the decision to go completely off grid and embrace clean energy. You don't know how much that put in our account for us to be able to do bigger projects. So I want to believe that I've been able to speak to those particular questions that you've asked. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Edinaya, and thanks to all the speakers who made it to this particular day 3. It has not been easy for the past 3 days, and I really want to thank the participants as well for joining us in today's session. So please, if you have a question, this is your time. Ask your question. You can either just unmute your mic, you ask your question, you introduce yourself. This is the time for us to know one another. Just unmute your mic or tell us how the session has been for the past 3 days. So you can just unmute your mic, you introduce yourself, tell us what you do so a lot of people can know you as well, and then you tell us how the session has been. So just raise up your hand. Even if you don't have a question, you can have a remark, just indicate. With the hand show, I'm going to indicate because I don't want anybody to unmute the mic at the same time. I'm just going to indicate you unmute your mic and then you say something. Please, let's do that exercise as fast as possible because we are already running out of time. Yes, Mr. Emeka, you can unmute your mic, please.
Okay. Good day, everyone. And good day. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you very much for this program that I've started since Monday. In fact, I'm so excited to be onboarded as a participant to listen to experienced speakers in their different industries. And I would say kudos to the organizers of this program. Yeah. I'm the founder of France Consultancy, an academic research academy based in Delta State, though doing some work for clients from UK, from India, and the rest part of the world, including Africa. And one of those things I have always want to do before now, because I've been in tech, like what somebody said, Ibrahim, I should remember that we need to be showing up every time. I think social media has been, we need to be showing up every time. I think, okay. So I have known about social media and digital marketing since 2015 by a small girl in Delta State University, Abraka, who is currently in UK now, Itimi Peace. It has been someone, she has been wonderful in digital space. But then I discovered that I caught out from the internet or the social media space over a long time, not utilizing it. But from what you guys have spoken now, as an academic researcher that wants global visibility in a large scale, because I'm doing just 0.5%. My visibility is 0.5%. The LinkedIn I have is not enough. And my Facebook, yes, doing well, but not enough. And I want to start up an academy in a new university that was opened in Kwale in Delta State. I've been discussing with the officials of that school how they can give me space to start up this academy. Please, my question is, how do I catch up students in the digital space, not only in Nigeria, to expand my knowledge, teaching students on how to write academic projects, essays, assignment, because I discovered from data that about 95% of Nigerian undergraduate student projects are plagiarized. And I don't want that. And I hate people copying and pasting. And now I've been struggling to establish myself as an authority online. So these have been my problem. So how do I go about it? Because most of the persons that have spoke about advertisement, management of social media, aspect, branding, and the rest. None have hit directly to education. And I believe that this my niche is new, but I do not know how to capture the global market in a large scale. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that question. I don't know if Mr. Eninaya can answer that or any other speaker.
Let the social media experts answer that question. Okay, so if I would chip in.
Okay.
Okay, so if I may chip in, one way to establish yourself as an authority is just to write. One way, there are many ways, is to write content. So the truth is people will allude expertise to anybody who can provide a body of content in a particular area. So if you can write a book about it, why not share nuggets on your social media platform? And over time, with consistency, people will begin to associate you as an expert in that particular field. But let me allow the social media experts to do their thing. Thank you.
Any other speaker can chip in?
Oh, hello. Can we answer even if we are not a speaker?
Yeah, go ahead, please. Yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Kizito. I'm speaking from Nigeria. So, like, from what you are saying, you are, for me to understand you, you want to start an academic stuff in a school, digital marketing stuff. So, first of all, you yourself, you have to be grounded. And from what all the speakers have been saying, they have been telling us about consistency and building without looking back. Then from my own perspective, all your social media, in fact, you need to build a social media pages for that particular foundation or whatever school it is. Maybe let's say the name of your school is Kizito College or whatever, or the name of your course. You need to build handles, all handle, not in your name, is in that course or that school or that's your stuff name. Then you start to grow it by organically. There are different, like if you are growing something organically, it's different from all those paid ad and all that. If you are growing organically or naturally, people from your within your location and your friends and family and phone numbers and the rest, they are the first people to first be in your convoy. So that people within your location, that school, can actually join the social media, and you start creating awareness gradually, so that people you can hit wider audience when you start fully, because you need to scale with speed. Don't even regret and don't be scared. From what you are saying, you have a lot of people that can answer your question based on the reference you made concerning the lady from the UK. But right now, don't sleep this night. Just get into action and begin to build by start pages that leave LinkedIn, start with Facebook, or get a SIM card, get a registered SIM card with that name, get stuff, and just begin to channel your energy. Then wherever you have confusion, that is why we are talking about ChatGPT. It's not actually copy and paste. For those who actually know how to use it, go there and ask ChatGPT, please, this is my confusion. What do you think I can do? It will tell you. Then in your human understanding, you can navigate it to the better understanding of your follower. I think my little contribution is welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that contribution. I don't know if anybody can chip in something or we move to the next person. All right, since we don't have time, let me just move to the next person. Amina Mohammed, I see your hand up. Can you unmute your mic and tell us what you have for us? Make sure you introduce yourself before you proceed. Thank you.
Okay. Hi everyone. Are you hearing me? Sure.
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm Amina Mohammed from Nigeria. I started this program yesterday. I was unable to join on Monday because of network issue and no one could join me. And so I started yesterday. From yesterday and today's discussion, all right, I really learned a lot. I'm actually someone that I'm a university student, a final year student in education, and also a data scientist, data analyst. Apart from being in the digital world and everything, I have also like a side business. I'm also doing one open. So of course, reason why I joined this program is because I want to integrate technology into it and how to involve myself digitally. Sometimes most of us come from like a place that we all know that some cultures, there are like some barriers for women and everything when it comes to social media and things, stuff like this. So, but actually, those barriers can hinder our activities online also. Like there was a time I told my dad, okay, oh, I want to take my business online, but the business has to be me. I want to create content, do content of my videos, my face has to be there and everything. He was like, oh, he doesn't know about it. He'll ask, but he doesn't think it's something that is good. Something like this. From where he comes from and the barriers I have faced, I said, okay, things I can do online, maybe I could not involve my face or my body or so. Just has to be a content something. So I got involved in content that doesn't have to involve me, my facial activities online, and it worked out for me actually. But as a beginner, you have to be learning every day. You have to learn. You have to be consistent, and you have to hardworking in order to achieve a particular goals. And sometimes joining education and other things is really hard. So there was a time I think I was more focused on my business than my education, and I kind of got low. And so at a point I had to step a little bit, then so that my education will not be I won't be failing very well in my education. I have to be up there. So that was really a hard one for me to start with. That was really a hard one for me at a point, but through this program, I really learned a lot. I'm really going to say thank you to the speakers, to the host. I really learned a lot that could really help me improve on my business and also in my digital life. So I just want to say thank you to everyone. God bless.
Right. Thank you very much. So we'll give the opportunity for others to do so in the various communities because we are way ahead of way more than time. So we will open the forum after this. So those of you who have, you want to contribute, you can do so. All right, so thank you all for joining us for the third and the final day of this African Digital Conference. It was indeed an amazing session. And of course, we'll be coming up with the plan for the physical events from the various African countries. So in any way you think you can contribute, we are going to, assign those who are in charge of the various countries that will be hosting, so that you can, you get to them, you tell them how you think you can contribute for the conference. For those who wish to sponsor the conference, you are free to do so. Want to partner with us to ensure that we achieve success. Feel free to get to us as well. We will communicate this in the various forums. So thank you all for joining. I'm going to share the attendance right now. So make sure you fill the attendance before you leave. And please, the speakers, kindly make sure you share your LinkedIn profiles, your LinkedIn handles in the chat. Please make sure we have 50 participants here. And I think we have about maybe 8 speakers today. So please make sure you connect with each and every one of them. We are still going to share the links in the major forums so that you can, connect with them. Trust me, you're really going to gain lots and lots of, opportunities from them. And of course, most of them always have, opportunities, openings across. We are not only making these events just to bring people together. No, we are creating opportunities. So maybe there might be some, events coming up or job opportunities. We will always make sure we announce that in the forums. And of course, by the time you drop your CV or whatnot, and the speakers who are here, they check your profile, and just the fact that you attended this session is going to give you an edge over any other person. So please make sure you take this opportunity seriously. And again, we are equally going to be bringing in the individual speakers. They usually have programs which I believe is going to help you in your various countries, be it physical events, be it virtual events. We are going to, bring up a program individually. So it's just going to be coming once in a while. While we are preparing for our physical events, we are going to be bringing up such programs so that the learning doesn't just end here. We will continue to share, knowledge from these speakers. They are amazing speakers with lots and lots of experience. Just making a combination of those who have been part of this event, you notice that just their combined experience can go up to 50 years. So it's really an amazing opportunity. And I hope that we are going to really be part of the physical events which will be coming up. And again, we are taking tabs of all those who are participating, those who are attending, because we will take this attendance seriously, especially when it comes to the physical events. You might even notice that you might not need to, spend anything, or you might get some benefits from us during this physical event. So that's the reason why we take all of this so serious. So make sure you fill the attendance, and please, before you start sharing your handles, let the speakers first of all share their handles so they can be at the top, and the others can, share theirs as well. So we hope that it has really been an amazing event. And of course, we will still share the handles again. So I'll be sharing with you the attendance sheet right now. Please make sure you fill before you leave. I noticed that yesterday we had approximately 60 participants. By the end of the day, we got just about, I think, 35 or 40 people who filled the form. Don't miss out on the form, please. Make sure you click, and always make sure you click on the submit button. Once you receive the confirmation that your form has been submitted, that is when you can exit the form. All right, so we have about 5 minutes to end the live. While we are performing this exercise, please make sure you fill the form, and ask 1 or 2 questions. We can be interacting during the session while doing that. Again, a gentle reminder that we are currently working in collaboration with the partners in Ethiopia to organize an event. So we have not yet set the date, but again, we are just still working in the background, trying to put things in order. And I think it's going to be in the capital city. So please, for those of you who are in the capital city, make sure you get to Dr. Wembang, Wembangeng. I hope I'm pronouncing the name very well. Please make sure you get to him. I think he shared a forum, the link to a WhatsApp forum, which a lot of discussions are taking place there, or participants who wish to be part of the conference. Right. So we are hoping to host at least 200 participants in that conference. And of course, by the time we reach the maximum of 200, the hall cannot contain more than the number it's supposed to contain. So that is the figure we are working with. We already have a hall and it can only contain 200 participants. So make sure you get to him so that we can really plan. If we can get the 200 participants, from these community which we are currently having right now, there will be no need for us to, do any extra campaigns except we need more people. So please make sure you get to him. And again, make sure you connect with the speakers. I see so many people sharing their links. I'm just going to indicate, please, we have the links for the speakers. We have Mr. Steve Ugo. We have, okay, I'm just going to copy the links and share again. You are going to see the links which have been shared by Tadita Group, Corporation. Know that those are the links of the speaker, so we don't really miss them out, because I can see so many links here. So I'm just going to carefully copy and share. I think I should be able to identify that of the speakers. And who else? Mr. Eninaya. Okay, I can get this link here. Please don't just make sure you connect with them, all right? And of course, due to the fact that you're connecting just now, they will receive notifications, and trust me, they are going to connect back with you immediately, because you connecting now means you are from this conference. So make sure you connect with them. Madam Leah, okay, get your link from here. Please, you can find the links which I'm sharing right now. Please, no one should share, just patient. I'm going to share that of the speakers, then you can proceed with your own links. Just some sharing, just connect with them. I think I've shared, have I shared any Naya? Let's see. Yes, I've shared for Leah, I've shared for Steve. Okay, there is Doctor as well. So just follow that pattern. I don't know if Madam Balemba, did you share? Let me check in the top. Let's see. No. All right, so Madam Baleba, kindly just share your link, and Madam Leah already shared. Madam Balemba, Madam Georgina, kindly share your LinkedIn. But you'll still get them in the forum, right? We will still share in the forum. So make sure you connect with them, connect with friends. Don't leave this conference without connecting with at least 100 people. So start with the speakers. I think we have about 30 speakers. Start with the speakers, connect with them. Okay, and of course, we will give the opportunity for you to connect with other people. So we are going to make sure we open the forum after this, and people should, interact, tell us their names, what they do, and their LinkedIn profile as well. All right, so Madam Balimbe just shared. Please, I said people should not share while the speakers are sharing. So just permit me, this is Mabel, just permit me to, all right, I will not delete it, but then please, let's just follow the pattern, all right? Okay, so we have given the opportunity for the speakers to share their links. Others can now start sharing, all right? You can find me on all social media platforms by the name Tamons Udine. Is, the two names are connected together, Tamons Udine. On LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn with the name Tamons Udine. I'm just going to attach my LinkedIn profile here. Please just be vigilant. We will be sharing a link to those who wish to be speakers in our next event, be it the physical event or our next virtual event. We might have other virtual events this year. We might have another virtual event. So if you want to be part of the team, we will share you the link, and we will, tell you the formalities, what you need to do to be part of the speakers. All right, so one more thing. This year we are launching the the African Digital Network and the African Digital Magazine. So we are going to be, bringing to the spotlight entrepreneurs, business owners who are making waves in the various African countries, top entrepreneurs, top leaders, top CEOs who are making waves, who are contributing to the growth of Africa. We are going to be listing them in our network. And of course, we are equally going to have the African Digital Magazine, which will be published at the end of every year, where we will talk about, achievements, what leaders have been able to do for their communities in the previous year. Okay, we will bring together leaders, top CEOs, and we are going to, talk about them. We are equally going to be giving awards at the end of every year, not only to those who, contribute to these events, but we're equally going to give awards to people who contribute to the growth of the society as well. So it's really an achievement which I think we are going to get at the end of the year. So please be vigilant. We will communicate with you on the modalities and the criteria we take in order to select you or give you the various awards. And of course, we will always be giving out, some of these awards will be at our end of year program, probably an event which occurs at the end of the year, which will bring these top leaders together from different countries in a particular country to be able to issue out this award. So those are things which we've put together for 2026. So this magazine, the first one should be available by, late 2026, early 2027, looking at what people have achieved within the year. So thank you all for joining. We have 2 minutes more. Please make sure you fill the attendance. We'll be ending this live soon. Your priority, the first thing you should do is to fill the attendance before we leave, all right? Kindly fill the attendance before we leave. And please, when someone connects with you, make sure you connect with them back. Very important, all right? Try to connect with them so that you can always, see the contents which they share. Most of these speakers share very educative contents on LinkedIn. That's the reason why we promote LinkedIn first before any other platform, because for other social media platforms, you don't only get professionals, you get content creators, comedians, and stuff like that. So you get those interruptions, those distractions. But for LinkedIn, it is made up of professionals. So that's the reason why we want you to build that platform. It is your digital CV, so you need to ensure that people know a lot about you.
Where is the attendance? Is it in the chat?
Yes. Because so many people are sharing links. It's a form. It's a Google